According to new research from Norway, tweens and teens aren't just facing real life social pressures. With the internet and online gaming, they're facing other pressures as well. They're faced with the threat of bullying if they don't shell out money for skins or in free to play games like Fortnite, for instance. So before we get any further, if you are not familiar with the gaming world, let me inform you, because I myself happen to be a bit of an expert. So skins are in-game cosmetics that you can basically purchase to change the appearance of your character or other items. So think of things like weapons, maps, anything that could help your character win. Skins can be purchased with real money, in-game currency that you earn from playing the game, or both. And skins are they're like pretty crucial to the business model for free-to-play games like Fortnite. So that's how they make their money. Okay, with that said, researchers in Norway conducted 2 studies on how those games affect the social lives of young people, okay? Typically people from the ages of 10 to 15. That's the age group that they focused on for the purposes of this study. And they found that the video games add a new dimension to social pressures that kids have, which honestly makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would have been able to predict this if I was asked what kind of pressures video games might lead to. So with that said, some children might end up feeling excluded if they lack the resources like Wi-Fi, gaming equipment, in-game currency to play with their friends, or might get picked on because of what skin they are wearing. Children may experience being called poor if they haven't spent money on their character. Children who have spent money on their in-game character can gain increased attention and other advantages, thus buying popularity.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker, because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now.
It's essentially a digital status symbol when you are using resources to change the skins of your character, to purchase these in-game, I guess, enhancements, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah, not buying it. So that was funny.
Yeah, what was that? I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
Okay, so here's why. It's not that it's not happening. Of course it's happening, but it's been happening forever. I remember when I was a kid, we used to shop at Marshall's and buy things that were irregular, right? So some of you old school folks, you'll know that. And
Marshall's has stepped up their game since those days, and I will not allow anyone to besmirch Marshall's, TJ Maxx, or Home Goods on this program.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, so that's an important editorial note there. So when, not only in America, but when I went back to Turkey and during the summers, my friends would make fun of my shoes and go, and it's in Turkey, they'd be like, you live in America and you don't have Nikes? Like, you're crazy. They thought that Nikes were like the most golden, valuable thing in the world. And those cost a lot more, and Levi's jeans and stuff. Yeah, people actually thought that back in the day, right? And so now Levi's and Nikes has turned into skins in Fortnite. Okay, that's a very well-known phenomenon. And then the shaming that goes with that, et cetera. I actually think things are better now.
You are insane, because the shaming in regard to what the kids are wearing to school is still happening. That didn't go away. This is just another one. This is just added to the mountain of things that these poor kids are like full of anxiety about, because they're gonna get bullied if they don't have the right status symbol. I remember when I was a kid, my parents, for a very brief period of time, would send me to Armenian school on Saturdays. And then they would send me to Sunday school on Sundays, which was awful. But anyway, Saturday school was particularly awful because, in LA, there are many well-to-do Armenian families. They typically drive very nice cars, luxury cars. My parents didn't have money, so my mom had an old Oldsmobile. Do they even make that anymore?
Oldsmobile? No, it's not Oatsmobile, by the way.
Oldsmobile.
Okay, Oldsmobile.
Yeah, yes, okay.
I had one, I crashed it going to the SATs.
Those cars should be crashed. Okay, those cars are awful. But anyway, my mom picked me up from Saturday school. I was in a group of girls, I was very young, and they started making fun of the car. They're like, what car is that? That's not a Mercedes, that's not a BMW. And I remember that was probably the first time I realized, oh, my family is, there's a thing called rich and my family is not that, okay? Yeah. And it was awful. It was a really terrible feeling. And then after that, my parents stopped sending me there. So they actually did me a little bit of a favor.
You know, it's interesting. I just realized a common theme for almost everyone that works at TYT. We're almost all poor or middle class growing up. Yeah. Because everyone here has had a story just like that. And by the way, it's funny that we both had Oldsmobiles. And is there a car that has ever had a worse name than Oldsmobile?
Yes, the Nova, the Nova.
Yeah, that's true.
Which translates to doesn't go, right?
Yeah, in Spanish, that's right. So yes, you're right. But outside of doesn't go, this is a car, a mobile for old people. It's just pretty, it's as bad as it gets. Anyway, back to this story. I retract my statement because of social media. You're right, Anna. Yeah. The pressure's gotten worse. And it's not just your peer group in your school, it's everyone in the country, everyone in the world. So you're being compared to the most beautiful people, the best dressed people, the richest people, etc. Now, having said that, my small experience here is that my kids go to public school and my son plays Fortnite. And not only does he use the public stuff and he finds cool skins that people compliment him on, etc., right? But it's kind of a little bit of a faux pas to buy the skins because you had to buy your way to a nice skin. You had to buy your way into popularity.
So it's based on, like, I mean, because you can also get the skins from merit, right? Like you're good at the game.
Yeah.
You're succeeding, and so you're getting the in-game money to buy the skins.
So it's almost considered by some, not definitely not by all.
By the way.
Yeah, by some is almost cheating, right? Like, oh, you weren't good enough to earn it, so you had to buy it. So it's like there's a little bit of shame in buying it.
I think that's actually pretty good shame.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, everybody sets it up in different ways, and there's different reasons why it makes sense to buy in some games and things and stuff, and not in others. But my point overall is shaming, especially for kids, has been around forever and ever. But just because it's been around forever doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful. Make sure that your kids don't buy into that crap about how they have to be rich or have this or that to be cool. No, I think it's the exact opposite.
So the main show producers just sent me an image of an Oldsmobile. And it just traumatized me. It just brought back a lot of like dark. And by the way, my mom's car was also white, so the picture's white. I'm just like, oh my God.
So I crashed my dad's Oldsmobile, which is kind of makes sense going to the SATs, and I totaled it. And so, but we were devastated because we needed that Oldsmobile. Okay, so like that's.
I'm actually shocked that you totaled it because that car was a tank.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but like certain gangs really like love that car. So that car got stolen so many times. My mom's car got stolen so many times, and then the authorities found it. And every time it came back, it had like something new, like devastatingly wrong with it. Like it was such a disaster. Then she put the club on it. Do you remember the club?
Of course, I had a club. I should have kept the club because then my Pontiac Grand Am got stolen later. But it got stolen out of my garage, so somebody had a grudge. Yeah. Anyways, that's so funny that the gangs liked it for some reason.
I think they did like the wheels and the to it.
Yeah, but they had to add the. My dad, on the other hand, was. Can you imagine my dad bouncing down in suburban New Jersey? Anyways, I crashed it because we're out of time, as you can tell. I'm going to read the super chats in the beginning. And
yes, we've got some amazing stories in our bonus episode today. We're gonna talk about concierge moms for college students who are studying out of state.
I do declare.
I think Cenk and I are gonna debate about it.
Yeah, because I'm secretly slightly in favor.
Oh my God,
okay.
It's because you're a dad, that's why.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it. Okay, so back to how I crashed the car. This is the kind of stuff we normally do in the bonus episode for the members, but since we have 30 seconds left. So it was a little wet. I didn't realize it was a little wet, or I did, but I didn't. I was young. Come out of a stop sign and start peeling out. And this is the problem with when you don't have enough experience. I panic and I start turning the wheel like crazy in the other direction. Don't do that. So then the car starts spinning, and I drove into the woods, hit a tree, drove out of the woods, hit a tree on the other side of the road, and broke the axle.
Wow.
All right, more in the bonus episode, tyt.com/join, or hit the join button. We'll see you there.